National Safe Boating Week is May 18th through the 24th, and Dave is here, Dave White from New York Sea Grant, to give us some updates and details on what you need to do to be safe on the water. Good morning.
Good morning.
Life preserver is a must.
Is a must for everybody on board. Under 12 have to wear them. Legally, you have to have one on board for everybody, a wearable, including canoes. People always forget canoe and kayaks. I think back to the old day we all sat on the cushion. Got to have a wearable for everybody on board on a canoe as well. Under 12 have to wear it all the time.
If you're in the canoe, do you have to have it on?
You do not unless you're under 12.
Okay, but you have to have it
Have to have the wearables now.
Some other things too, flares and a fire extinguisher.
Flares, fire extinguishers, and the SOS flag, and I always remind folks with the, the fire extinguisher and the flares, fire extinguisher, make sure it's charged. Everybody leaves them on the boat, they sit there.
Forget about
Just tap it, make sure it says that it's charged. And flares, people always forget also they are dated. Flares will run out. I have like 5 sets on my boat, kind of thing, because they last for about 3 years. The date is right on the side, and that's the first thing law enforcement's going to check. Great, you have flares, but are they up to date, and current on board? So making sure you have those two, and making sure you have the date, and then the SOS flag, because on most boats you have to have nighttime flare, but also daytime signaling with the flag on board.
You're in distress.
Okay.
Yes, it's good to remind people. I want to talk to you about this phenomenon on the river right now called backflow.
Yes.
And we have video that we're going to show people, and this is from Wilson Hill. And it's interesting that we had all the wind coming in off of Lake Ontario, and it pushed all the water into St. Lawrence River, and there's an abundance of water along the river right now. They have to open up Iroquois Dam.
Correct.
And they have to do this, or else there could be some serious damage.
Yeah, well, and this is not an unknown phenomenon, but the wind has to set up perfectly along the lake to go up the river. If you talk to folks along the eastern shore of Lake Ontario, this often will happen in the Sandy Pond area, Black River, and other areas. If you get a wind directly out of the west, it will go right into Sandy Pond, and Sandy Pond can go up a foot or two, in a very short period of time. And in the case when it goes into an embayment, it then has to flow back out over about a 24 to 36-hour period. So the river, some would go back out given Mother Nature's natural flow, but most of it's going to want to go out the river system, so they have to get it out of the system. And it just happens to be the way the wind sets up and then the pressure system that comes through. It's basically a mini safe in this regard. Happened in Lake Erie one time where they had a 16-foot safe where the actual lake tilted. It went down 8 feet in the west and up 8 feet in the east.
Now the water that went from the Lake Ontario can't lose water right now. I mean, you want to keep the water you have, but it went from the lake into the river. It'll probably stay in the river, is what you're saying, because it's already caught in the flow going downriver.
It's caught in the flow. You'll get a very little backwash, if you would, going back out in the lake. You'll get a little bit of that maybe in the Cape Vincent area, but most of this has now just got to flow through the system. But it's over. I mean, so now you're just basically taking the water and getting it through the system, and then they'll open the dam. They'll probably close it back down and get back on a normal probably within 36, 48 hours, but they've got to let that water get out of the system because now the winds calm down, you have pressure coming back off. So it's a weather phenomenon that happens, but the wind has to set up perfectly to go right down the St. Lawrence River to push it.
In the wintertime, we have a snowstorm, you have to clean up after it. This is sort of, with the water,
it really is.
how a weather
and that's a great example, because, if you think lake effect, depending on how the wind sets up, who's going to get hit? It's the St. Lawrence. So it's very uncommon, but it does happen. Absolutely.
Good to see you. Thanks for lending your perspective to that. I appreciate it.
Have a great day.
Back here in a couple of moments.